everyone, and welcome back. Now I just wrapped up tilling my cut flower area, and at the end of it I mentioned I don't know if I want to go ahead and start planting these out or if I was just going to head to the shade to my vegetable garden behind me and finish planting out some of my tomatoes. And I decided that I'm just going to keep sweating it out and at least get some of my Costco dahlias in. Now, I bought these back when Costco just had it in the early springtime. They're dahlia tubers from Longfields. I had them last year and they were beautiful. I didn't know much about dahlias, so I staked them individually and they were great, but this time I know a little bit more about flowers, did my research, so we're actually gonna get them into my brand new cut flower field. And hi, if you're new here, my name is Kristy. I am located in Massachusetts, Zone 6A, with an average last frost date of May 15th, and today is Memorial Day. I have been so busy for these past 3 days trying to get as much as I can. I got basically my whole entire vegetable garden done. We finished most of my containers, but I have so many flowers, especially dahlias, that have to get in soon because it is now finally warmer weather. We have had low dips into the 40s, 50s during the day, rain. It's just been so crummy. I haven't been able to get much going. Now these dahlias have been out here for probably a good 2 weeks or so. They are hardened off, they are ready to go, and I need to get them out of here. I really want my backyard back. It is just a hot mess between my winter sowing milk jugs. The dahlias are, the amount I have is unbelievable. I still have celosia that I have to get in, my lavender, the basil, still some feverfew, so I need to get everything gomphrena into the ground because it is going to be gorgeous out. Now we're only having one rainy day this week, sunny skies and in the 70s, so that means they need to get in before they start getting too crammed in their containers because they have been sitting in there since who knows when. So right now I'm going to try and get at least all of my dahlia tubers from Costco in. I have about 3 tubers. Now I just left them as clumps, and I just want to show you a quick tip on how I got these started without breaking the bank. Now, as you know, when you are a new gardener, the amount of supplies and money you are putting in never seems to end. It's just endless buying between seeds and dirt and amendments and tubers, clearly, and I didn't want to buy too many tubers. I started a lot of my dahlias from seed, even though I know they would have like the open face, but all of these are from Costco. I didn't want to have to buy more trays to get them started. So fun fact, I went to the Dollar Tree and I only bought their casserole tins and their cake tins. It was either 2 for $1.75 or 4 for $1.75. I just threw in some Miracle-Gro, waited until they sprouted, and then started watering them once I started to see them budding at the eyes. Now, this is just a nice, cheap, easy way. I didn't cut them or anything quite yet. I wanted to wait till I got them into the ground while they were hardening off. I didn't want to stress them out too much. But this is just a casserole tin. I believe the larger ones were 2 for $1.75. And I mean, I even had some leftovers from the holidays. I did all the cooking for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I even used the tops because they are just so light. And I am just absolutely thrilled. So I, as again, didn't trim them. What I plan on doing is just burying them a few inches. I read that dahlias are just like tomatoes, that when you go ahead and bury the stem, it will still grow some more roots. So I'm gonna get these in, let them grow until they're about 10 or 12 inches, and then I will go ahead and pinch them off. So let's see if we can get these in. It is super hot and sunny over there, and I am already dying and sweating as it is, just removing all of my soil and finished tilling this morning. But if I can get these in, and then I can keep working on all of my 3-inch pots. Wait till you see what I have. It's crazy. I will be so happy if I can get everything in by the weekend. So then hopefully this weekend I can go and tidy it up. So let's check out all the dahlia seedlings that I also started. All right, now don't mind the mess, but these all are almost dahlias. So I do have some sunflowers I have to get in, but we have dahlias over here. I do have some gomphrena, but that won't be going in here. I'll be putting that out front. I do have some pennycrests that I have, and then again, more dahlias. Some are still in their little 6-cell packs. Some are in 3-inch pots. I have a lot of celosia. I have sweet basil, more celosia. I even have tomatoes, but look at all these dahlias. They all need to go in. Now, that doesn't even include, I have some more sage that needs to go in, calendula. I have lots of lavender over here. I have more sage, feverfew, and I have some more lavender over here. So we have a lot to get in. Oh, and I have straw flower. Now, this is the remaining of my winter sowing jugs. So I have a ton of straw flower I need to get in. I have bells of Ireland I need to get in. I have some more celosia. I have a bigger one and a smaller one that I have to get in. So we have a lot to still do. And we are going to head over here. Now, this is the area I have been working on since April, basically. But I am thrilled. I had a lot of challenges, but it all worked out. We had a weed barrier here. I was never planning on having this when we built the playground. So I'm going to start all the way over there with my larger dahlias, work into my seedlings, and then I have zinnias I am still hardening off. And then here I will have my celosia, my straw flower, I still have feverfew. And then at the end, I want to have my basil and then maybe my lavender I will have perennialized over here. So we have to get to it, and I'll bring you for as much as I can. Now, the worst part, as we know, is moving everything over there. So I'm going to bring all of my dahlias over to the sun, and then we'll just do a bunch of time lapses, and maybe you'll plant some with me. I'm getting out of breath. It's actually really sad. Who would have thought that gardening is so exhausting, especially when you're doing it yourself? I mean, I never expected it to be easy, but it's just like you're using all these muscles you're not used to, and I am just hurting. Anyone else there with me? All right, so here is everything all lined up. I started it by size. I have some bone meal worm castings. I have some other fertilizer. It just didn't come in today, so that kind of stinks, but oh well. So anyways, I lined them up. Basically, thank God I kept the packaging. So I have the tallest one over here, and then I have it going down in size. Not that it really matters. I do have some netting that I will be putting up, and then that leaves me all this space, hopefully enough space for everything else. So let's get to planting. All right, I'm going to go ahead and plant these. I am going to make a 3 or 4 inch hole. I will add some worm castings and a little bit of bone meal, and then I will water them in later. Unfortunately, because I've been so busy and recording so much, I don't have much space on my phone. So we're going to keep the recording to a minimum. Time lapses it will be, but this is my first time doing something like this with some research. So if I'm doing anything or I need to improve on anything, please go ahead and let me know. This is going to be my first year with my flower farm stand. I don't even want to say that I am flower farming. I'm just becoming someone that has this as a hobby and just make a little extra money to support my hobby. So we're gonna get these in and yeah, break a sweat. I should also mention that I did not divide any of these. I left them as clumps because I am no expert and I didn't know how to break them. So if anything was already previously broken, I just went ahead and snipped it. Some of these are broken here, so I will probably cut those off. But yeah, I have some eyes growing here, so I am just going to bury it. And I'll probably space them about a foot apart. So I'll probably have, depending on how wide my hole has to be, I will have either 2 or 3, which I'm hoping, because then I can fit a whole line of the same one and then work to the next one. So I'm hoping it can fit 3 in my 4-foot wide row. All right, we have our last variety to put in from Costco, but we made a great dent in planting. I did everything roughly 12 inches apart, more of a guesstimate, and then my smaller ones I probably did more like 10 or so. And then I will be doing ones that I started myself soon. Those I'm going to be planting maybe 4 or 5 inches apart, because I was watching Florette and she said that when they do the breeding program, they do everything super close together. So I plan on doing about 5 inches, I would say, so I can jam pack more and then keep the ones that I love at the end of the year. So let's do the last 2 together. All right, we have our last 2 to plant in. So what I will do is just sprinkle in. I love worm castings. I put it in everything. I amend things with it, and I also add it to my own potting soil. So we have our last one. I've been putting tags, and then I have ones that will actually, some tags that will wrap around the main stalk once they get bigger, because I know my kids are definitely going to move these. So I need to also document and take pictures. So I will just tease them apart because they actually have roots started, and I'm just gonna leave them intact. So I'm just leaving the roots in, and then I just dug a nice deep hole. Sometimes I have to dig it a little bit deeper, and then I just add a few more just to be on the safe side. There we go. And then I will backfill and give it a good firm press. Again, we'll do the same thing. This one looks a little bit deeper too. All right, there we go. Luckily, I added more of this 50-50 mix, so that way it was a little bit over the main ground level, because I just was afraid of anything. I was just afraid of anything getting too waterlogged if we have a big rainfall. So, all right, so we have this one in. A little wonky. All right, and then give it a firm press, and I will put the tag right in front, and then I'm going to document them just in case if any tags get moved by my little one. My little one had so much fun moving the flags when we had the sprinkler system put in, and luckily the guy was a good sport about it, and he knew where everything was supposed to go, and there he is. All right, so now we are doing the ones that I started myself. They are all at various stages, but I did go ahead and pinch them. I am going to put 5 in per row with the width, and then I will just put it about, I don't know, 6 inches, 5 inches apart. I'm gonna stuff these. Again, they are first year seedlings, so I'm gonna put them a little bit more tighter, and I'm trying to get them by variety. So these ones were seeds from a seed swap, and then I have some Floret Beach Choice open pollinated ones, which will go next. And I'm just trying to get the same, like the pon mix. I have those together. And then one of my seed swapping friends, I have so many of her, so I'm gonna put all of hers together. And then I will be working into my zinnias and celosia afterwards. So hopefully today I can get the rest of these dahlias in. There's a lot, but I do have another space where I will be putting my specialty ones that I am trying out for someone. Those are gonna go in a totally separate area. And if I run out of space, I can just go and switch them and have them spaced out from these. So let's get planted. And that is a wrap up for Memorial Day dahlia planting phase 1. We were able to get all of our Costco ones in and a good amount of my seedlings. I was gonna do celosia tonight, but I need to relax for once. So until next time. everyone, and welcome back. It is Thursday and I'm finally getting in some of my zinnias. I was able to work the other day and I got most of my dahlias and some of my filler flowers in. I have bells of Ireland, some gomphrena, some pennycress, and now I need to work my zinnias, and I'm a day behind because yesterday I was sick because this girl did not drink enough water, and I actually had to call out of work because I was so dehydrated from all of the planting for the past 4 days between here and then a few hours at the school that I worked at. Not a good combo. So this is just a nice reminder that you need to drink your water. So we're getting in zinnias. It's great because it's nice and damp. It just rained, so I'm gonna get these in. I have so many varieties. I'm going to be plucking a few out to give to one of the parents. She said that she loves zinnias, and so I said I'll give her a couple of extra starts. So we have that. So right now I'm just going to keep plugging away while the kids are on a walk, and then once they go to bed I'll keep going. I'm doing these about 4 inches apart. I really need to jam pack them in, and I didn't do any weed fabric. I'm hoping next year I'll have time for that, but I'm just so behind. And let's see, I'll just show you what the roots look like. They are getting root bound, so they really need to get in. And I'm just literally just keep going in a row. If something, a new variety comes up, I'm not starting a new row up the front. I'm just gonna keep going through. I have all of these to do, and then I also started 4 more trays of 40 that I have to get in. I still have to get all of my little dahlia seedlings in as well. So I have a nice space over here. I'll show you what I planted the other day. I didn't film anything because it was kind of damp and raining outside, and it was just pure chaos trying to get these in. So we're focusing on zinnias. I'm trying to get the smaller ones here because I wasn't even thinking that I have so many giant varieties that I honestly should have put them over here and pushed my filler flowers over, but I wasn't sure how my spacing is going. I have one other place where I can plant these, and if not, we're going to be putting them in containers. So let's just keep on plugging away before the kids get back. All right, so now I have most of my normal size zinnias, I like to call them, in. Again, I did about 4 or 6 inches apart. When I do my giant zinnias, however, I'm going to be spacing them about 9 inches apart. So this is actually 6 inches right here, so I'm gonna go about halfway. I figured this is about 1 foot long if I had to guesstimate. So yeah, so for my larger ones, we'll be doing 9 inches. And then once I get a little bit taller, I will be putting a netting to hopefully help them from flopping over. So I'm going to use the netting on my zinnias and my dahlias. So let's keep plugging away until it gets too dark to see. All right, now we are losing daylight, but I got my zinnias in. So again, these are all my giants. I spaced them around 9 inches apart or so. And then I have my smaller ones, which look super compact. They're about 4 to 6 inches. Probably spaced them a little bit too close together, but I still have dahlias I need to get in, and I still have a second succession of zinnias. So I have a small little bit here, and I have some over there. So we have zinnias, which we just did somehow all in one night. I have a small little bit of my foliage flowers right here. I have a bunch in my perennial garden as well. Like I plan on using basil and bee balm. Blank space. You can't really see them, but I put some of my smaller gompphrenas in. Ton of straw flower. Some celosia. These ones I actually bought at the nursery right here. Was planning on putting them in pots and I didn't. Then we have dahlia seedlings. These are first years that I just grew from seed, so I put them closer together. And then we have our Costco dahlias, which we spaced about 1 foot apart. So those are in there right now. So that is a wrap for Thursday. Tomorrow I might plant some sunflowers, but I'm pretty excited about the process, especially for being down a day. So I'll see you guys later and show you some updates. So remember that drainage problem I was talking about? well, here it is. So luckily, everything up here is great. It's just this corner. But it looks like from me adding water, only like a couple zinnias might get a little bit saturated. So hopefully I can spoon this out with a shovel. Hey everyone, and welcome back. It is June 1st and we are still trying to get the cut flower garden finished and prepped. Unfortunately, on Saturday we had so much rain, about 2.5 to 3 inches. I was unable to get outside. I did get my zinnias planted, as you can see, except some did take a beating with the super heavy downpours we had. And then unfortunately, this is our drainage issue and we were unable to work on it this year. So I'm hoping that by mounding some dirt, I will help it just not puddle over into the zinnia beds and dahlia beds. We also have another setback. I was planning on putting the rest of my dahlia seedlings over by the vegetable garden because that gets sun all day for at least 8+ hours. Unfortunately, because we got our sprinkler system put in there, there's pipings all and it takes up a few feet that I'm unable to plant in, which just won't work out. I will be putting my second succession of zinnias over there, and then my dahlias will have to come over here. Even though it doesn't get quite as much sun, I think it'll all work out. I just want the tubers to hopefully be able to develop and not get into any of the plumbing. And since zinnias don't have such a bigger root system and aren't creating tubers, they'll go over there and I can just condense them a little bit more and still corral them. So right now I'm gonna get the rest of my dahlia seedlings in. These are ones that I am testing out for someone that is hoping to sell seeds one day, and they germinated fantastically, and they have just so many extra sprouts coming in. They are so waterlogged, and this area is also too. However, it is going to be warming up this entire week. It's actually true New England weather. It's in the 40s right now. I actually have my winter coat on. It's going to be in the 90s come Wednesday and Thursday. So it's going to be warming up. The sun should be coming out hopefully this afternoon to try and dry things out. I'm just happy that the puddle is gone. So this is kind of like very soft and mushy soil right now. So I'm just hoping everything will survive and perk back up once the sun comes out. So let's get the rest of the dahlias in and get these cut flowers in the ground so I can hopefully be done planting and finish getting my tomatoes and my vegetables in. So let's get to it. All right, so I have my potted up seedlings here. I actually will be able to space them out. I have some extra room here. I'm just going to use it. So these are first year seedlings, seeds that I am testing out. And then these are also the dahlia seedlings. I just have not been able to pot up. But what's super cool is some of my dahlias, right, like this one, I took the tops off of the dahlias to pinch them, and then I tried rooting them, and look, they rooted. I am so stinking excited about these. So we have those. So I'm gonna space these out accordingly just to fill in the rest of this spot. Now I'm gonna bring the kids in soon to feed them. They're getting a little antsy. It's kind of cold out here for them and wet. So there's not too much that they can do right now. But my potting bench is getting super empty. So I don't want them to be out here too much longer. I thought the sun would be out by now, but unfortunately it's not. So we'll probably stay inside for a little bit. I don't have too much planting to do today besides getting the dahlias in. I have to finish getting some tomatoes that I brought back down from my greenhouse that were left over into some grow bags, and then I have to start my sunflowers because I was supposed to start that like a couple weeks ago. Kind of happy I didn't because of the weather that we have been having. So hopefully I'll get that done today too. So I will do some time lapses once I get time to plant these, and then we should be done soon. We got this small patch in quick, and now we're gonna move on to the ones I didn't pot up. But I did pinch all of these, so you can see it's starting to send up some extra side shoots. And I still have those saved to see if I can take cuttings. All right, so over here, these are the ones I just did not have time to pot up. I haven't pinched any of these, I believe. I'm gonna wait till they get a little bit taller. These ones right here are actually ones that I pinched to see if I could get them to root, and to say the least, I believe that most of them rooted, so I'm super excited. I have a bunch more from when I pinched my batch over there. They're still in water. They're actually in my little propagation station that I have in my greenhouse, and then some are just still in water. I just haven't had time to put them in soil yet, but I'm hoping to do that one night this week, if not maybe tonight. Just depends on how exhausted I am. So a lot of these are still in these little 6-cell trays. So I'm going to just space them out and get them in, and then we should be pretty good over here. As you can see, we're starting to get a little bit of sunlight, which is nice. And then hopefully I'll do some weeding over the next few nights in all the gardens, and we'll be pretty good and done with planting, which I really hope. So I would say right now I have maybe about roughly anywhere from 30 or 40 of these to put in. I'm gonna space them out about 4 inches still, keeping a nice little space between the zinnias. I do plan on putting a netting up for all of my zinnias, and then that way I can trail it all the way to the end of my dahlias right here. I'm gonna just take everything out first. Hopefully I can keep the tags with them, which will be kind of crucial. If not, I have to make some extra tags, so I'll go in the greenhouse and grab those. And then I will hopefully fill out this section, but I would like to have a little spacing over here, maybe for some extra basil that I have, so I don't have to put it over there, and I can save a little spot. I have a small patch over there. Maybe I can put some more of my annuals. I was hoping to get into my perennial beds as like a nice little extra color that I don't have. I think it's some blue salvia maybe, so we'll see. If not, I'm gonna pop that over there so it doesn't get wasted. But thankfully the sun's coming out, so my goal today is to finish working in the shade here, and then once my vegetable garden is in the shade, I will go over there. So yeah, I don't even know where to begin, but I'm just going to plug away and hope that we can get all of these in soon, especially before I have to put my little one down for another nap. And look at this. This is my top view from my play structure, and you can see all of the flowers. How cool is that? So we're just gonna use this every time just to do a little before and afters. Super excited. And we are done. Can you believe it? Finally, this whole entire cut flower garden is complete. I actually found some extra celosia that I totally forgot about. I found some white straw flower that germinated in one of my winter sowing jugs that I totally forgot about. I added some Love Lies Bleeding as well. I wasn't sure if I was going to add that, but since I had enough room where I was going to be netting and staking my dahlias up, I figured why not, since it will need that extra support. But we are done. I am thrilled. Everything that I need for my cut flower garden has been planted, except for my second succession of zinnias. Those I will be putting by my vegetable garden. I have a patch over there. I'll add some extra 50-50 mix and worm castings probably next weekend. Those won't be ready to plant out for another few weeks, probably like 3 to 4 weeks. So thankfully I have time. It gives me time to get this crazy weeding done and to get my sunflowers and the rest of my vegetable garden set and ready to go. But then other than that, it's just going to be maintenance, which I am actually thrilled to just think of. All I have to do is weed and maybe do some fertilizing and then just wait for everything to grow. I still have to paint my whole entire flower farm stand that will be going by the roadside, so that will also keep me busy, which is great. So we still have projects. We have a lot of cleanup to do. I'm just like looking over here, and I have trays upon trays that need to get rinsed and washed, and especially those Dollar Tree pots. I want to reuse them next year, so those I will also be rinsing and washing out so I can reuse them next year when it comes time to do this all over again. So I just want to thank you for staying tuned and seeing all the craziness that is happening with starting your own cut flower garden from scratch. By no means is this going to be some huge production, but I'm just very happy to have this as my first year, trying to get, you know, my feet a little wet and see if I can get this going. So if you want to stay tuned, go ahead and click like and subscribe, hit that bell button, and I will see you all next time. Happy gardening. Bye.